Hi kids, and welcome to It's Storytime Kids. Today we're going to read The Impatient Little Vacuum by Yvonne Jones. Now, this is a very wordy book. Let me change the screen a little bit. Not in a bad way, it's just that a lot of the books that I read you, The Impatient Little Vacuum by Yvonne Jones, are kind of big on pictures and small on words, whereas this book has beautiful pictures, obviously, but also quite a few wordy pages. So, I don't know how long it would take to read. Let's get cracking. Did you know that late at night, when all the people are asleep, toys and appliances and machines and anything that usually doesn't move during the day comes to life? It's true, and really quite interesting. Interesting because so many wonderful and exciting stories happen during these magical hours. Ooh. One such story takes place right here in this old-fashioned mom and pop store located where Main Street and Piper Avenue meet. Piper Avenue, Main Street. And that says mom and pop store. It just so happens that Mum and Pop, who owned this store, had a whole aisle full of vacuum cleaners. No two vacuums looked alike. They were all different models and created for different purposes. Vroom, vroom, out of my way! The droning sound came from Dirk Meevil, the loudest and bravest vacuum in the whole entire store. Watch out! Watch out! I'm coming! If there was one thing that Dirk Meevil loved to do, it was racing the other vacuums. All the time. So much so that the others started to get tired of his constant dashing and whizzing. Give me a break, said Lissel, the girlest vacuum of them all, the girliest vacuum of them all. She loved her pink and shiny coat and was always worried about getting her hose and brushes dirty. If you keep on whirring around like this, you'll wake up the shop owners. Besides, I need my beauty sleep, so I look nice and fresh in the morning. I'm sure tomorrow will be the day when people come to buy me for their home. That was what all the vacuums wanted, to be purchased and taken to a forever home. Ooh, lots of words. But you just got here last week, said Coric, the smartest and most intelligent vacuum that you could ever imagine. He learned his ABCs and his 1, 2, 3s before he even knew how to properly suck up dirt through his hose. I know I haven't been here long, replied Lissel, but I really do believe that tomorrow might be my day. Are you sure that you even want to be picked? Asked Rock. Rock was the silly one in this aisle. Do you realize that you will have to get dirty eventually, right? You do realize that you will have to get dirty eventually, right? After all, you are a vacuum cleaner. Well, answered Lissel, I'm planning on sucking up clean dirt only, and I also expect to get my filter cleaned after every use. That's how I perform the best." "Good luck finding a forever home with all those crazy wishes," chuckled Benmore, the strongest and mightiest of the bunch. He was extremely flexible and very quick to pick up any dirt he could find. His strong build showed strength and durability. Most of us will be lucky to get our dust canisters and brushes and filters cleaned once or twice a year. "And have you ever heard of clean dirt?" snorted Rock. "What does that look like anyway?" "Fluffy and pink and glittery, of course," replied Lissel. "I cannot wait to have my canister filled with shiny tinsel and glittery confetti." "Shiny tinsel and glittery confetti," laughed Rock. "More like smelly lentil and sticky spaghetti." The others giggled. "Oh yeah, just you wait and see," blurted Lissel. "I will find my perfect forever home." And with that, she spun around and rolled away. Rock and Benmore both chuckled. This Lissel sure had a loose belt. Myson, a little boy vacuum, chimed in. "If someone is going to be picked, it's Lissel. She is shiny and beautiful and the newest model of her brand." He sadly let his brushes hang. Myson had been in this store for almost 2 whole weeks already, but he had not been picked by any of the customers. He was really starting to worry. "I've been here for 13 days now. I don't think I'll ever find a forever home." He worried because he really did look quite different from all the other vacuums. The colours of his frame were intensely bright, and this ball-like shape on his lower end, well, it just didn't look right to him. No other vacuum had such a clumsy-looking thing. What was it meant to do, anyway? Myson was truly concerned. Poor Myson. I guess that's Myson with his bright colours and his ball-like thing. Poor Myson. Now, my dear," a calming voice made its way towards the front of the store. "Don't you worry, Myson. Everything has its time and place. You have to be patient, that's all." The kind words came from Mrs. Duver, the oldest and wisest vacuum of them all. She was Mum and Pop's personal vacuum cleaner that made sure the place was spick and span and dust-free after the store closed every night. She was not the newest kind, quite old really, but she sure knew how to take care of all the other little vacuums that waited to be picked out by one of the customers. "I think you look really nice, Myson," shy Sarika said. "I especially like your bright colours. They are very beautiful." Sarika was a humble little vacuum. Her mother, Selectrobelux, taught her that kindness is one of the most important qualities of a hard-working vacuum cleaner. "See," said Mrs. Duver, "what seems mismatched and different to you is quite interesting to others. Besides, do we really want to all look the same? I think this would make this place much less special, don't you? Of course, Mrs. Duver was right. Not everyone can look or think or feel the same, and that is quite all right. With that, the little vacuums yawned a big yawn, rolled up their power cords, and put themselves onto their shelves again to have a restful night. The next morning was greeted with a cheerful and noisy clanging of the front door bell. Front store doorbell. Store doorbell. I guess because store and door rhyme, I got a bit confused. Cheerful and noisy clanging of the front store doorbell. Mum and Pop opened their little store bright and early every morning. Usually customers didn't start to show up until at least noon, but today, unexpectedly, a very cheerful lady walked through the door right after it had been unlocked. "Excuse me," she said, "I'm looking for a vacuum cleaner." These were the words all vacuums were waiting to hear. Immediately they straightened themselves, pushing out their handles so as to appear taller than they really were. One of them was going to find a forever home today. But who would it be? How about this pink one over there, over here? Yes, that one. My girls will just love it. Lissel couldn't believe her luck. She had been right. She did find an owner today. Lissel happily winked at the others with her dirt sensor light before she was safely wrapped and packed up in her box, which must be that picture. Lissel going to her forever home. And so it continued for the rest of the week. 2 more vacuums were sold. Mug Mokta, a deep cleaning vacuum with a huge water tank, found a home with a cleaning company. That must be Mug Mokta with his water tank. And Palalodic, a friendly little girl vacuum, was purchased by an elderly couple who wanted something lighter and easier to clean their carpets with. Their old one had become too heavy for them to push around, so they were very happy about their new little cleaner. While Myson was really happy for Lissel, Mug Mokta and Palalodic, he started to worry again. What if all the others would get sold? What if he would be the only one left behind? Whom would he talk to? What would he do by himself? "I don't think I want to be a vacuum cleaner anymore," Myson said. "I don't even know how to clean. I mean, not really. I've never tried to suck up any dirt before. What if I can't do it?" "Don't you worry," replied Coric while adjusting his glasses. "I know you can do it. It's really quite simple. We basically work like a straw that little boys and girls drink their juice with. But we have a motor and we suck up dirt and dust instead of juice." That must be Coric. And look, he's doing a diagram to teach them all how vacuum cleaners work. I'm going to do a quick check of the time. Okay. Hopefully I get to the end. The sucked up dirt gets collected in our bags or canisters, and filters prevent the dust from going into our motors in case it gets out of the bags. Filters prevent the dust from going into our motors in case it gets out of the bags. Well, that makes sense, I suppose. You don't want the dust getting into the motors, do you, kids? Coric smiled at Myson. He was proud of how much he knew, and he was more than happy to share it with his friends. Of course, we need electricity to do all that. That's why we all have power cords. A vacuum cleaner works like a straw. Well, I can do that, replied Myson, relieved. Thank you, Coric, for trying to make me feel better. You are a good friend. Yes, he is, said Mrs. Duver from the corner tucked in beside the counter, where Mum had left her after a quick vacuum of the dirt on a young man's boots earlier. And he is right, Myson. You can do it. You just have to believe in yourself. Myson felt much better. What wonderful friends he had. He was glad he had someone to talk to and to share his worries with. Of course he could do it. That's what he was made for after all, right? And with that, he closed his eyes and fell asleep. That evening, Myson was awakened. That evening, Myson was awakened by loud vrooming and revving noises right there, somewhere in the shop. What was going on? He opened his sleepy eyes. Dirk Meevil and Ben Moore were standing right next to each other, each with a line of dirt spread out before them. Dust bunnies, lost coins, crumbs, dirt from muddy shoes. They used anything they could find. Ladies and gentle Vacs, Rock announced excitedly, get ready for the competition of your life. Whoever races down the aisle first while sucking up all the dirt will be our winner. Get your wheels ready, your nozzles set, and go! A loud hum of air started off the race. Every vacuum standing along the side was cheering. Noisy, rattling sounds of solid things being sucked into the nozzles filled the air. What a race! Dirk Meevil swerved down the aisle. Ben Moore followed closely behind, trying to take the lead. Leaving some crumbs of dirt on the floor, Dirk Meevil accelerated and crossed Rock's power cord that made up the finishing line at the end of the shelves. I won, shouted Dirk Meevil, happily spinning in a circle on his wheels. I am the fastest. He loved to race, and he loved to win. You sure were the fastest, responded Mrs. Duver while approaching slowly on her small and squeaky wheels. But sometimes speed isn't all that matters. Look how much dirt you left behind. Ben Moore sucked up all the dirt on his side of the aisle. I guess for today you will have to share the victory. When Dirk Meevil saw the mess he had left behind, he had to admit that he hadn't given his best in the race. He knew that he could have done better, and because he was a good sportsman, he shook Ben Moore's handle graciously and promised to do a better job next time. He would show off his speed and do a fantastic job sucking up all the dirt on the way to victory. Three more vacuums were sold that week. Coric was picked up by a friendly-looking janitor at a local school. This was just perfect for Coric. He was very excited because taking care of a school meant that he would be able to learn even more after he was done with his work every day. He was sure to become the smartest little vacuum cleaner the world had ever seen. Dirk Meevil was purchased by the owner of a car shop that specialized in repairing old-fashioned sports cars. He couldn't have been happier. Now he would be able to refine his racing skills by learning from the best. And the third vacuum that found a home that week was kind little Sarika. A hairstylist had chosen Sarika for her salon, a bright and busy place for a little vacuum. It was beginning to get really quiet on Mum and Pop's vacuum shelf, and a little bit lonely. At least, Myson felt this way. Easily bored, Rock asked Myson, "What should we do tonight?" as he looked around the bare shelves. "Maybe we could play some swivel ball," answered Ben Moore, nudging a ball he had found in aisle 4 towards his friends. "What about you, Myson? Do you want to join us?" "No, thanks," responded Myson as he nervously chewed on his belt. He was too worried to play anything right now. He desperately wanted a forever home. "Only 3 of us left," he sighed, or he thought. "Only 3 of us left," he thought. "What am I going to do?" Mrs. Duver knew the expression on his face. She had seen it many times before. She called it the troubled face. One of the last vacuum cleaners always ended up with a troubled face out of fear not to be chosen for a forever home. "Remember what I told you," she said to Myson. "Everything has its time and place. You will find a lovely family eventually. Until then, practice patience, my little one." With that, she rolled off, settling into her corner next to the broom and dustpan. Was it really the end of the week already? Myson couldn't believe it. The sun was brightly shining through the store window and the birds happily chirped their lovely songs. What a beautiful day, Myson thought. He even caught himself whistling quietly along with the tune of the birds. The loud clanging of the store's front door pulled him out of his daydream. A charming woman and her little boy entered. The wide-eyed boy seemed very excited. "Mummy, Mummy! There they are," he said, pointing towards the back of the store. Tugging on her arm, he pulled her towards the shelves. I'm coming, his mother said with a big smile on her face. This was the day her little boy had been waiting for such a long time. She wasn't quite sure why, but he just loved vacuum cleaners. He knew every single brand by heart, had her read to him everything they could find about vacuums, and talked about them all the time. "I can't believe we're finally going to pick one today. Which one should we get, Mummy? Which one?" the little boy asked. "I like this one right here. It looks exactly like the one in my book. Look, it's a perfect shape, and how bright it is." "Look at its perfect shape, and how bright it is. And look, it has room for 2 whole liters of dirt and dust inside." Litters or liters? I think it should be liters. Let's start again. "Look at its perfect shape and how bright it is. And look, it has room for 2 whole liters of dirt and dust inside. And so many extra tools. I'm sure this one will do a great job. Please, Mummy, can we pick this one?" Myson couldn't believe it. Was this little boy really pointing to him? He'd never seen anyone so excited and happy about picking a vacuum cleaner. This must be a very special little boy. All of a sudden, Myson felt very proud. He stuck out his canister, straightened his handle, and aligned his ball-like shape on his lower end to make sure that the boy saw all his wonderful and special features. "This one it is then," said the boy's mother. the boy's mother said as she took her son by the hand and led him towards the front of the store to pay for their new vacuum cleaner. "Can you believe it?" Myson whispered to Mrs. Duver, who was propped by his shelf where Pop had left her. "This little boy picked me! Me!" Myson was so happy that a tiny little tear rolled down along the side of his canister. He had been waiting for this moment for such a long time. He couldn't believe his luck. All his patience had finally paid off. He found a forever home with a boy that not only seemed to really love vacuums, but that truly appreciated every single part about his build. While Myson's new owner paid, Mrs. Duver gently wrapped her hose around Myson's canister in a hug. "This little boy accepts you for who you are. He values your special features and unique look. See, Myson? Being different is okay. At times it might be hard to remember, but always celebrate the way you are." She gave him another little squeeze, and then Myson was lifted out of the shelf and put into a box that would get him safely to his new forever home. The end. There he is, with his little boy human, and the little boy human's mummy, and the shop owner, and that's Myson, heading off to a new home. Oh, that was that picture. Oh, that's the end, which is quite good because I have to get back to my job. There we've got a little bit of artwork. The artwork that inspired the Impatient Little Vacuum. That's a Bissell, a Turbo Cat, a Kenmore and a Shark by CKJ, who was 4 years old at the time he wrote that. Now, I don't know anything about CKJ or the author Yvonne Jones, but maybe they're related. I don't know. Other works by the author. Safety Goose. Teeny Totty uses Mama's Big Potty. Got to Garbage, the garbage book for the biggest garbage van. Closing the Gap, Understanding Your Service Women. Women. Now I see animals, and now I see trains. That's those ones. Oh, and that's the end. Thank you for joining me for this book. I really enjoyed it. The Impatient Little Vacuum, and I'll see you again another time. Bye!